Hello there, all you amazing people. Take this video as a little bit of fun. We're just having fun right now. Use whatever operating system you want to use. There's nothing wrong with using any of the operating systems that you like. It's a personal choice. It's not a political choice. It's not a fuck you to X, Y, and Z. Use what you want to use. That said, I like and love to poke at the Linux community once in a while because it's really funny. So I just spent 5 minutes finding statistics from Linux for April 2023. And we are going to look at why Windows is owning Linux big time. This is from TrustList, and you can see the sources from there, where they get it from. Nothing is 100% when you look at statistics and stuff like that. This is just, again, like I said, just having a little bit of fun. Just aggravating the Linux fanboys a little bit here. So, server market share worldwide by operating systems. So this means, of all of the servers, of all in the world, this is the market share that the operating systems have. So, if you take all of the servers in the world, no matter what role they have, all of the servers, Linux is at 13.6%. Not much. Not much. Unix, that everyone thought was dead, 5.6. OS, 390, I think that's a Unix system also, is 2.1 or 2.10. Other, be FreeBSD, Haiku, it could also be Linux, it could also be Windows, nobody knows who they are. 6.5%. Windows, let's just say 72%. Yeah, Linux is owning the server market. Like, this is a thing you hear a lot of Linux users say, oh, Linux is owning the server market. Linux is the most popular server operating system. If that's being the most popular operating system on a server, I'm the most handsome man in the world, I'm the strongest man in the world, and I'm getting all the fucking pussy. Leading desktop operating systems worldwide market share. macOS, 15.3%. They actually had a little bit of an uptick this month. Windows actually had a downtick if you look at statistics over like individual months, and other went up a little bit. It goes a little bit up and down like that. Chrome OS, 2.18. Linux 2.09, and some will put Chrome OS and Linux together, so that would be 4.30, that's to say that. Other, what I do with others, again, it could be FreeBSD and stuff like that. I see a lot of Linux people say that others is 100% Linux. No, it's not. If you want to, spread out others to these other operating systems, or the operating system we have here, if you want to say that some of those are Linux, which they probably are, but you don't know which percentage of 6.68% is. So if you want to do the fairest thing that you can imagine, you just divide all this number with all of these here, so it's not going to matter what one bit whatsoever. Again, Windows have 73.72, and I think if you go on to Statistia and look now, it's down to 60.3. Others is up to like 12 or something like that. Linux is at 2.8 thereabouts, and I think Chrome OS is at like 3 point whatever. But still, Windows is still massively fucking more popular on the desktop markets. Like, we're not even talking just like maybe here, we are talking like big dick energy bigger on the desktop market. Primary operating systems among developers. So, of all of the developers out there, and you hear a lot of people say Linux developers love Linux. They do, but it's not the most used operating system. Mac OS at 44, others at 1, Linux at 47, Windows at 69. The fun thing here is that if you go a year or so, and even 2, 3, 4, 5 years back, Mac OS and Windows has always been the top two. Linux actually have taken over from Mac OS, which is really interesting. If we are going to believe statistics, taken from Statistia, which is the site that almost every Linux YouTuber used to get statistics from, TrustList just made them more, into a nice query for us to look at. Windows is still the primary development platform. This is not so much big dick energy they're coming with here. It's not a massive fucking lead here, and I would not be surprised if Linux or Mac OS took a bigger part next year and next year again. Windows, like I develop on Windows weekly at work. It's not a good development system, especially if you're doing Python and stuff like that, and most programming languages. They just are natively better supported on the Mac OS and Linux. It's no doubt about it. But Windows is still the most popular primary operating system, development system for developers. Funny. take a drink every time I said developers. Let's go to the next thing here. What is this? So this is a little bit of a let's pour some salt into the wound, because a lot of Linux people, like the vast majority of the Linux community, they love to shit on Ubuntu. Ubuntu is the Microsoft of Linux. I love the Linux community. They hate everyone, and they also hate themselves. If you're an Ubuntu user and you're coming out loud and proud as an Ubuntu user in Linux, you might as well just fucking castrate yourself, because you are not welcome among us anymore. But according to this top Linux subcategories by market share, and this is taken from W3 Techs. I don't know how reliable that is, but Arch Linux is not even on there. My beloved OpenSUSE is not even on there. SUSE is on there, but not OpenSUSE. It's probably in the unknown with all of the rest of the Linux distributions. CentOS, 9.3%. Debian is really out there. 16%. And then you have Ubuntu coming in with Linux big dick energy here and slapping everyone in the face and say, ha! Puny, tiny little fucking suckers. Look at us. We are the ones fucking running around here like the big fucking alpha dogs here and swing you all in the face with our sweaty balls. You are nothing compared to us. Just thought this was funny to like snap packages and, you know, all of that thing. And like, why do you think they are not going with flat packages? They're the most used platform, most used individual platform on Linux. So what they do is kind of automatically a standard. Unofficial standard, by the way. This is this is an FSQ. How many Linux users are there? Linux to show that 2.68% of desktop PCs, so that's another number than the we saw above. This is the more current number that I've also seen of desktop PCs and Linux laptops worldwide runs on this platform. The number of Linux users, I don't know if we can see this a little bit better here. User sites sits at over 30.2.8 millions, and then you have like 1.6 billion Android users. But we are talking desktop Linux here, like big boxes at home. I personally don't believe Android is Linux. And let's be honest, Android is not a desktop operating system. It's a mobile operating system. So, and again, we are talking desktop operating systems on this channel. And most of you guys and girls are using desktop operating systems. I'm using an Android right now. I don't regard me as an Android or Linux user. I regard me as an Android user. But that's another video. So if you're taking Android out of the picture, 33.8 million. The last number that I found from PC and laptop Windows users set at over 2 billion plus users. And we sit here with Linux's PC laptop use at not even 40 million users, where Windows PC and laptop is over 2 billion plus. As much as we all want to love Linux, and as much as we all think that Linux is this brilliant, amazing thing, when you look at the numbers, it's almost insignificant. Because unless you are an IT professional doing server work, or you are a developer, anyone besides IT professionals, Linux is more or less just like a fucking, I don't know, hair growth on your left cheek that you need to get rid of. Something like that. It's unrecognizable. It's like, what the fuck is this shit I having growing on my ass that looks like fucking Donald Trump? What is this shit going on here? Let me fucking shit all over it. You know, unless you are an IT professional, developer or running server, administrating and stuff like that, Linux is... Why? What the fuck are we thinking about? And it's a really good picture that I think everyone should be a little bit more aware of, is that for these people here, developers, Linux matters. Linux is fucking, you know, it really matters, but so do Mac OS and Windows. And Windows more than Linux, but it still matters a lot for developers. So you have to ask yourself as a Linux user, are you a developer? If not, nobody gives a fuck about what you're doing with Linux then. The Linux developers don't give a fuck about what you're doing with Linux, because Linux is being developed towards the biggest user group. It makes no sense to ignore the biggest user group and then focus on the minority. Linux development is focused towards the biggest user group. So that would be developers. They are seeing the most advancement with Linux, not your fucking desktop operating system. Again, that's not the one I want. This one here, operating system for server. If you are a Linux user and you see 44% developers and 13% of servers are using Linux, And you are wondering why ray tracing took so long to be properly supported. HDR, DSLR, I don't know if FreeSync and QuickSync is working, but let's pretend it is. You're wondering why that took so long to come into Linux. It's because that's not what they're focusing on. They're focusing on developers and servers. There are a few distributions doing something for the desktop, and Ubuntu's doing a little bit for the desktop. Valve is doing a little bit for gaming, but it's still insignificant. Think about it this way here. Valve is not betting on gaming on Linux. They're betting on gaming on Linux on the Steam Deck. They're betting that the Steam Deck would have more users running their arts distribution than there are PC laptop Linux users. That's their bet. Their bet is not the desktop. Their bet is not PC and Linux and laptop hardware. Their bet is the Steam Deck. It's just a benefit because it's Linux and they use it as a development platform that we are getting, that they can run Steam games or we can run Steam games on our PCs and laptops. It also gives them a little bit of a bigger market. But again, you have a 40 million market or a 2+ billion market. What makes sense to kind of focus on here? I hear a lot of people say that Valve is going to ditch Windows and stuff like that. You have a 2 billion market that you're just going to say, bye-bye. I have potential 2 billion users if everyone was running Steam. And then focusing on, I'm rounding up a lot here, a 40 million user market if everyone was running Steam on Linux. No, they're betting on that the Steam Deck is going to sell more than there are Linux, PC, and laptop users. That's what they are betting on. Last year or early this year, we looked at how many units the Nintendo Switch sold in a month or in a year, sorry. That was 12 million. So if they do that for just 3 years, they sell 12 million, about 12 million or over 12 million for 3 years. There are more Nintendo Switch users in the world than there are Linux, PC, and desktop users. If the Steam Deck can sell 10 million units a year, in 3.5 years, they will have more units running Steam Deck than there are PC and laptop Linux users. That's what they are betting on. That's also in this article here where I took these screenshots from. The biggest contributors to the Linux kernel is Huawei and Intel, and it's not Huawei and Intel's desktop thing, it's their corporate interest, their server interest, their infrastructure, their cloud infrastructure. There is a number that I think that 90% of all cloud infrastructure runs Linux. That's not desktop Linux. That's, server management, cloud management, and IoT devices and whatnot. But that's not PC and laptops like you and I are using right now. So according to all of these statistics, my little big box that I have over here, which is a really fucking weird thing to say, little big box, but my box over here that runs both Windows and Linux, when I run Linux on it, most developers don't give a fuck that develop for Linux or contribute to the open source ecosystem and Linux. They don't give a fuck about it because it's not a server. I'm not doing development on it. And when I am using Linux on it, I'm only part of a 40 million group of people, where when I'm running Windows on it, I'm part of a 2 billion plus community. Just a little bit of big dick slinging towards the Linux community, just for fun, okay? But it's really, I think it's needed that we put this into perspective, that even PC and laptops don't mean much in the Linux ecosystem, because we are basically nothing in the Linux ecosystem. Yes, we have System 76, we have Tuxedo computers and stuff like that, but they are not massive fucking successful companies. They make a living, they have they make money, don't get me wrong. Some of them have been in business for years, but they're still small companies. If you want to see big open source and Linux companies, they have one thing in common. They are all on the server market or in the development market. Even Pop! OS, the System 76, they make machines for the STEM industry, research and development, science and development professionals, not gamers. It just happens that they also benefit gamers to have the same kind of requirements as STEM people have. Always been like that, nothing new. And yes, they are doing a little bit for us at home. Ubuntu is also doing a little bit for us at home. I'm not saying that nobody in the open source community and Linux care about the desktop. Of course, some people do. But it's like, if we are going to throw numbers out there, I have no proof of this, but I would say that maybe 10% of the overall effort in open source and Linux development is catered towards PCs and laptops. All of the rest is put into this and making it a development workstation, which is totally different requirements than you have for as a home entertainment gaming system. See you all later. I'm going to take my big dick energy out of here and go back into my small dick energy. See you all later. Bye bye.